In the small town of Bursa in Turkey, a mysterious man is dying. He crosses Istanbul with a promise to bring him back from the dead. A forbidden experiment that was never supposed to succeed, but that day something changed. Something was born whose existence questions the creator's decision. The boundaries of humanity and hell are erased. One question remains, is this life or a curse? Today, I bring you an extraordinary Turkish horror series creature. The time is the late 1900s. The Ottoman Empire has lost its power. Captain Omar leads his team in a heavy snowstorm in search of the hidden treasure on the mountain. Everyone is tired after 2 days of traveling. Food is also limited. Omar ordered Cello to spend the night here. Then everyone set up camp and got to work. Time passed and the night was falling asleep for everyone. Suddenly, a scream of relief was heard outside the tent. Has everyone seen the devil? The devil, with a huge body and a face burned by a terrible fire, threw one of them among them, asking them to heal him, and disappeared into the darkness. In the midst of this sudden incident, everyone, including Omar, became busy serving the unknown boy. Fear has dried up everyone's mouths. Omar says it's not a devil or a jinn. No one will be crazy. Then the boy muttered and said he wasn't crazy. I brought him back from hell after his death. Everyone sat up and moved. He is looking for someone named, in a feverish state. Omar asked what happened to you. The boy said in a feverish tone, will you believe what I say? The incident with ERD goes back to his childhood. Zia was the son of a noble family in the city of Bursa. His mother Gulfum was the family's wife, and his father Muzaffar was the only doctor in Istanbul. But today there is a festive mood at home, because a cute girl is coming home. Mother has already died due to illness. And driven by poverty, Father Huzn leaves aside to raise his friend Muzaffar's family. They couldn't throw away little Asia. He raises her with love and care like his own daughter. From a young age, Zia had a special love for medicine. He also has another talent. Once you read or see something, it becomes imprinted in your memory like a photocopy. One day, Zia showed Asia an apple with a worm in it and said, even though it's not fit for us to eat, this apple is helping to keep the worm alive. However, after eating this apple, the insect and the apple will merge with the ground and give birth to a huge tree. In fact, everything in nature is like an infinite cycle. Hearing this, AC said, maybe humans are the ones who get stuck after death. If what you say is true, then after burying her mother, she never came back. This little thing strangely stuck in little Zia's mind for the rest of her life. Omar sat up after hearing Zia talking feverishly. Food is running low. A fight has already started outside, and if this continues until morning, the others will decide to leave Zia behind. Omar calmed Zia down by giving her medicine, and the others began to listen. As time passes, the two have grown into adults under the same roof, obsessed with affection. The family went out for a walk today, with their grandmother accompanying them. Amidst the laughter and banter, Gulfum got thirsty, drank water from the water vendor, and got into a story. Zia is privately reading a book brought from Istanbul, the Book of Resurrection, where it was written about bringing dead people back to life. Muzaffar was annoyed to see his son reading such a book. The boy is convinced that real life is not so simple. If such a thing were true, he would have found the cure for the incurable disease himself. So he brought Zia to a small abandoned neighborhood on the outskirts of town where everyone had been made untouchable, because they are infected with leprosy. At that time, leprosy was considered a fatal disease because there was no cure for it. Gulfum's childhood friend Ophelia is suffering from leprosy. He brings her food and new clothes every week. When Zia saw a leper for the first time, a storm of questions arose in her mind. If medical science has advanced so much, why can't it cure such people? Seeing him acting like a madman, he got into an argument with his father on the way back. According to Zia, her father is timid, because he never tried to do anything new outside the so-called rules of medical science, because of which they do not have a cure for infectious diseases. Zia sat stubbornly all day. He would not even apologize to his father, but he could not forget Asi's words. All his stubbornness faded in front of him. Then, when he apologized to his father, Muzaffar forgave his son because at this age, the desire to learn something new can mislead anyone, but it is wise to direct it in the right direction. Just then, someone came and informed him that everyone in the area had fallen seriously ill, dying from vomiting and diarrhea. Zia went out with her father and inspected everyone. They realized that cholera had spread through the water. They don't have enough cholera medicine for so many people. So Muzaffar sent help from a neighboring town and began treating the rest. Zia ordered everyone to boil water and start helping her father. But unknown to all this, Gulfum fell victim to cholera, because he bought water and drank it while going for a walk in the morning. Despite being sick himself, he did not stop Muzaffar, because every person in the city is waiting for him. He even asked Asia to distribute all the food in the kitchen to the sick in the morning. By the time I realized it, it was too late. Amidst the deaths of Aganti and the entire city, Zia doesn't understand when she lost her mother. Before his death, Wolfram called Zia and Russia close and said, "Just as a tree clings to its roots, you will be with each other for the rest of your lives. No one will be left behind. Promise." Zia, who was surrounded by her mother's warm touch as a child, now clings to her cold body. He was buried in a separate plot with the Khalida patients. After this incident, Zia went crazy. Day after day, he lies in bed with his mother's picture. He lost. His medical science could not save his mother. Why would people lose to a little luck? What would the only survivor say on the last day of the world? He doesn't want a fate that is all his fault. A few days later, Zia sent a letter to an acquaintance in Istanbul, saying that she was coming to Istanbul to study medicine. With all the preparations in place, Zia bid farewell to Asia and her family. On the way, Zia leaves flowers on her mother's grave and promises her that he will return with a cure for the infectious disease that took her away. Zia never forgets to tell Asai about every detail and new experience along the way through letters. Upon arriving in Istanbul, he rented a small hotel right next to the medical college. According to the advance message, the unknown person was waiting for him there with a copy of the Book of Resurrection. But when he came to the room with her, he checked the book and saw that it was all fake and the pages were blank. Immediately, the man hit him on the head from behind and fled with all his money. When he regained consciousness in the morning, the hotel owner grabbed him by the neck and threw him out. So now what is the way to get back home? And it's impossible to carry out the rest of the necessary work. Zia wandered around the city in the guise of a beggar, but his faith is unwavering. At night, he decided to sneak into the college gate and sleep there. But when I heard a noise, I looked at a man in the school lab. Judging by his demeanor, it was clear that he was intoxicated. Zia came quietly without making a fuss and fell asleep. When I woke up in the morning, I saw a note next to me. There was no point in hiding the writing there. On the other hand, the same man is seen conducting some secret experiment in his house, and a book called the Book of Resurrection is placed on the table. Zia was shivering with fever. Hearing the commotion outside, Omar went out and found out that they had gone hunting and had not found a single wild animal. So what is the use of fearing Satan here? They can go to Pashgram if they want. When the commotion started, Cello tried to calm them down by taking out his gun, but suddenly the devil or someone else appeared. He put a huge deer in front of them to eat, took out its heart, and gave it to Omar. He said, "This is for Zia. Get him well soon, otherwise no one will survive." He went back to the forest. His screams in the pitch darkness sent a chill through everyone's chest. Zia jumped up and sat down. Omar's medicine came. Everyone was curious to know how they got here and who that devil really was. Are they in search of a hidden treasure? Zia smiled and said, "You will get all the answers. Be patient." By then, the admissions to the medical college had started. A new year, new classes, and new students. Zia registered and went out. The first thing he had to do was arrange accommodation, but where was the money? After searching for a long time, Zia was unsuccessful. She was hungry and stopped in front of a small restaurant. She could not even afford to buy food. The shop owner, Hambi Baba, had been watching him for a long time. He called himself, "What do you want to eat?" Zia says, "I'm not hungry." At this, he smiled and said, "I've been running the shop since I was very young. When I see people, I will tell them if they are hungry. Come and sit down, no money required." As soon as Zia felt the warm, delicious food in her stomach, she remembered her mother's cooking and cried. Somehow, when Hambi Baba stopped him after finishing his meal and went to wash the dishes, Zia said, "I ate for free. Please let me pay off my debt." He really agreed. In return, he will have to tell everything. Then, after learning the whole incident, Hamdi Baba arranged for him to stay in the kitchen. And in exchange, Zia will help him manage the restaurant. Hamdi Baba taught me the way to work and said, "All the addicts will come here after the call to prayer. But there is nothing to fear. They mostly come to forget their sorrows." The first person to arrive at dawn was the guy from college. Zia was surprised to see it. But Hamdi Baba knows him very well. Love is like finding yourself. His name is Eshan. Once, Ezan saved his granddaughter when a doctor was nowhere to be found. Hamdi Baba is not happy to see him getting drunk again. It turned out that he was not a bad person or crazy. Rather, he is an extraordinary teacher. However, after being dismissed from medical college, he went crazy. As the new year begins, Ezan College misses students terribly. Before leaving, Eshan said, "Tell your new son that there's nothing more to learn at that medical college. His future is dark." Surprised by these words, Hamdi asked Baba Zia how Eshan recognized him. It was then that he fell into thought after telling her about last night's events. He said, "Eshan is from a fairly respectable family. His father traded with European merchants. However, away from business, Asia was completely different. I dreamed of becoming a doctor since I was little. He returned home after studying medicine in Paris. However, Chirita moved away from busy medicine and focused on finding a cure for infected people. He also joined Istanbul Medical College as a lecturer. But many people turned against him because he questioned his intention to forget the old concepts of medicine in college and do something new. Someone is jealous again. Therefore, he was dismissed from college before completing his second year. It is said that from then on, he began to live alone in the forest on the outskirts of the city. An explosion occurred a few years ago due to excessive gunpowder storage at home. Rumors spread that Eshan wanted to commit suicide. The new year at college is about to begin in a few days. This time, he's doing something like that. When Zia became restless after hearing his words about meeting Eshan, Hamdi Baba forbade her and warned her. Zia caught everyone's attention on the first day by speaking out against the violence against a woman in front of the college gate. College doesn't like these things, but his new friend Yunus really likes him. While class teacher Suleiman was giving a lecture, Zia's mind wandered to Eshan outside the window. Eshan is helping the woman by giving her some medicine. Seeing Zia's other-mindedness, Suleiman angrily questioned him, and his retorts led to his being summoned to the head office. The result is dismissal from college. As soon as Jia came out in anger, she saw Eshan mocking her and leaving. But now how will you show your face when you return home? Zia is finished with this thought. Hamdi Baba told him to calm down and wait for tomorrow morning. Zia came to Eshan's house early in the morning. He lives alone with his pet dog, Darwin. When I first met Zia, his enthusiasm and madness about medical science reminded me of Muzaffar. In fact, the two of them used to study together at the college that Zia is coming to study at. Muzaffar was the only person who not only respected but also supported Eshan's ideas. Even though he sees the same attitude in Jaya, Eshan doesn't tell him anything. Even after he arrived here, Muzaffar wrote to Eshan asking him to keep an eye on his son. So he has been keeping an eye on Zia since day one. My friend's son said so. So he met with Suleiman at Ezin College to seize him. But this was no ordinary meeting, because Eshan knew very well that Suleiman had stolen many things from the faculty room before. Even his medical license is fake. So if Suleiman doesn't let Zia into the class, he will tell everyone the secret. As a result, Suleiman had no choice but to agree. Days pass and weeks pass. Zia tried to enter Eshan's house in various ways, but he never gives me a chance. Everyone was in a panic when they saw Hamdi Baba sitting in the restaurant talking about this topic with Yunus, because it's a huge rat. Seeing this, an idea comes to Zia's mind. Meanwhile, Ophelia receives news from Asia that Golfam has passed away. Hearing this news, Ophelia loses hope of survival. He has only one prayer now: let the heavy rain wash away his leprosy. Before he dies, he wants to at least see his true form in the mirror one last time. As a child, Zia was severely scolded by her father for sneaking into her father's study room and reading the forbidden book on reincarnation written by Saharam Amir. But every word, every line diagram in the book became etched in his mind like a picture. Since then, that madness has continued to this day. Hamdi suddenly woke up to his father's screams. A man named Sikander is lying intoxicated and a rat is eating his ear. Hamdi Baba somehow calls him and asks Zia to bring medicine. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Zia first cuts off a part of his ear with his hoof and runs away with the medicine, saying that plague spreads from such rats. Many people have already died like this in Europe. That's when Hamdi Baba is shocked because blood is coming out of Zia's ear. Hamdi Baba's worries are endless, but Zia knows what he is doing. First of all, he makes a sweet dough ball and makes everyone smoke biddies to avoid the rats. Then, fooling his friend Yunus, he took him straight to Eshan's house. Say, you agree with whatever I say. Meanwhile, when Asai brings food for Ophelia, she finds out that she has killed herself. He knew no one had gone. He was buried separately because he was a leper. The people present there insulted Asia and made her stand up. He said he doesn't need to come here. On the other hand, Zia quickly arrived at Ezin's house and called him to say that he had been bitten by a rat. Blood is also coming out of the ear. The result is fever and stomach pain. I mean, these are the symptoms of this plague. Now only Ashen can save him, but he didn't give her a chance to say anything. He took off all his clothes, set them on fire, and entered Eshan's room with a letter written for Yunus to bring. The plan has worked, but Asia's heart is beating. It's been a long time since I received a letter from Zia. Muzaffar explained that maybe he wasn't that busy with his studies, because he himself sent a letter, but there was no reply. If they want to come and see us, they will take one day to visit Istanbul. But do they know what's burning in Zia's head? Eshan also has the same doubts. Suddenly, a loud noise was heard, and before Zia could ask a question, Eshan said that Darwin might have dropped something. As soon as Eshan left in a hurry, Zia came to her senses. After taking the medicine, Zia sat up in the warmth. Omar, don't get me wrong after hearing the events I'm about to tell you. Omar asked in surprise. Why are you telling me every incident in detail? The answer came with a smile. I don't want this story to be lost in the mystery with me. Let someone at least remember this incident of ours. So Zia woke Eshan up in the morning. My whole body is aching with pain. Zia says I know all your secrets. In fact, the first day Zia came to visit Eshan's house, she was suspicious when she saw the storeroom window. Because no house has windows that high. He knew that Eshan was just like him. Very different from ordinary people. I was always excited to go outside the rules and do something new. So they came to Eshan's house by making a false drama of spreading the plague. Then last night, they mixed medicine and wine and Eshan fell asleep as soon as he drank it. Taking this opportunity, Zia entered the mysterious room. His suspicions are absolutely correct. Because what was kept there was the Book of Resurrection. According to the method and mechanism of which Eshan had been secretly conducting a strange experiment to bring the dead back to life. Seeing this, Zia remembered her mother. One day, he traveled to Istanbul, promising to bring back his dead mother. And that search has been completed. Zia realizes that even though she has completely created the machine to revive Eshan, the invention is not successful due to a few small reasons. Zia will be needed to solve this. But will Eshan agree to make her a Sagrat? His father tore up his copy of the book when he was a child. As a result, the second copy was Eshan's only resource. So, he carefully read every detail of the book, imprinted it in his mind like a picture, and then buried the book in a secret place. Now, even if Eshan wanted to, he wouldn't be able to kill her to convince her or to find out the secret. Because his brain is now a book from the Book of Resurrection. Zia says that if the story of reincarnation were not true, the king of Iran would never have killed Saher. So Zia asks Eshan to make her a C. Zia agrees to do whatever Eshan says. And if he doesn't agree, Zia will tell everyone. Then everyone will kill Eshan for going against religion. And on the other hand, Zia will bring back from the brink of death and give birth to a new human being. As a result, Eshan had to agree even though he didn't want to. They promised to forget all bad relationships and work together. Suddenly someone knocked on the door. Yunus and Hamdi are coming to see Baba Zia. Zia says Eshana feels like she has the plague. So I have to stay here for a while. Hamdi Baba returned to the shop, happy at first sight. So then Eshan explained to him that he only wanted to use this machine for terminally ill patients or those with life-threatening diseases. His imagination was never meant to bring the dead back to life. Because everything has a limit. It is a sign of wisdom to understand and stop. But Zia doesn't want to accept it. They have the opportunity to make history. There's no point in letting it go to waste. Their first task is to circulate warm blood throughout the body according to body temperature. The book mentions a bright light coming from heaven, upon whose arrival the rest of the lights will be turned off, which actually means lightning or thunder. This electricity must be used to transfer it to the body along with the blood. And today is the first snowfall of midwinter. I mean, the timing is absolutely perfect. Ashen didn't interrupt anymore. Zia didn't say anything wrong. Meanwhile, when Muzaffar's letter arrives, Eshan hides it. While discussing the matter at night, Zia suggests that they need a freshly dead human body. But despite Eshan's opposition, his words are not heeded. They arrived at the cemetery early in the morning. A freshly buried body was quietly picked up and brought home, avoiding the attention of the guards. Meanwhile, when there was no reply to the letter, Asai and Muzaffar booked tickets to Istanbul for the following Thursday. Because it was a college holiday that day, and they would be exploring the whole city with Zia. There is a strong chance of rain today. With the thunder of the clouds, the hearts of these two were no longer happy. The body, which was brought back clean, was tied to the machine and made ready. What is needed now is fresh, hot blood and strong electricity. However, Eshan still doesn't want to use a human body in the experiment. When Zia, overcome with emotion, wants to donate her own blood, Eshan stops her. Because there is a problem if two people lose consciousness after donating enough blood. So Zia took some money from him and headed towards the cemetery. Because he saw some refugees on his way there in the morning, Zia procured 2 bottles of blood from them in exchange for money. Eshan was eagerly waiting for Zia to return home. The lightning has already started to flash. Now it's just a matter of waiting. And then a powerful bolt of lightning struck the machine, and when it came into contact with the gunpowder scattered on the floor, a huge explosion occurred. Zia had just returned. Seeing this unexpected incident, he rushed to save the master. By then, the entire storeroom and the machine's body were completely burned. And Eshan lost his life at that time. Seeing the plight of the master, Zia hugged him and burst into tears. Hearing this, Zia sat in a strange daze. Omar and his companions look on indifferently. He said that after his mother left him, Satan threw a new challenge at him today. As if mocking him, he said, "Why did you lose again today?" But Zia has not lost yet. I'm wondering what page 81 of the Book of Reincarnation means, being blank. Zia remembered her grandmother once telling her when she was a child that if she brought the tips of her little finger and thumb of her right hand together, the Arabic number 18 would appear on the palm of her hand through a special line. In the left hand comes 81 in Arabic. The sum of two numbers is 99. And in Islam, there are 99 names of Allah. So did Saram leave page 81 blank, hinting at a new birth? A terrible thought came to Zia's mind. They tied the dead Eshan to a machine and stitched his burnt face. Because Zia will save Eshan from death like a phoenix. Blood taken in the morning will not work. So he cut his own hand and started filling fresh blood into bottles. Now just wait for the lightning. Then, as soon as the light broke through the clouds and hit the machine, that terrible incident happened. When he regained consciousness, Eshan, like a mummy, came towards him and lay down on his lap without saying anything. That means his experiment was successful. He brought back the dead Eshan. But the strange thing is that he can't speak. He has no ability to understand any language and has even forgotten his own identity. Eshan is like a living doll. After applying medicine to his burn wounds, Zia buried the body he had taken from the grave. He doesn't know what to do now. However, Darwin ran away after recognizing Eshan. Seeing his behavior, Eshan wants to learn something new. But is he a human or a creature? He took out the money from the table and bought food for Eshan. Zia wants her old master back, but he is a peacemaker. Zia tries hard to remind him of his past memories, but there is also failure. Then Zia realizes that Eshan is coming back, but his body is just like an adult's. In fact, he is a newborn baby inside. Zia started doing everything from bathing him to feeding him with her own hands. At night, Zia tied Eshan's feet in chains and went to meet Eunice. Seeing him after so long raised thousands of questions for Eunice. When I brought him up and showed him to Eshan, he shivered in fear. Zia says she's CA and handle this alone. So Eunice needs help. He will burn the entire body along with those who are buried outside the house. This will make everyone think that Eshan is dead. And if Sean actually leaves him somewhere outside the city, no one will even recognize him. And he can't say anything anyway. All you have to do is lie to Eunice that Zia hid in her room for the past 2 days. No one will doubt it. As a final punishment, he will leave college in Istanbul and move to Bursa forever. Then, despite Eunice's request, she agrees to help him out of friendship. They took the body from the grave and brought it home. Then he dressed Eshan in such a way that anyone would think he was a leper. Then the fire was lit. Everything is over. Neither the dream of the two nor the history of Eshan remained. When they were taking him to the forest far from the city in a horse-drawn carriage, Eshan hugged Zia like a child. Zia doesn't dare to look him in the eyes. Like a coward burning with remorse, he runs away with Eunice. And the helpless Eshan looked at them in surprise. Are people really that successful? Returning to the city, Hamdi washed his clothes and went straight to his father. He lied to her and said that Eshan had almost gone crazy in the past few days. They started filling the whole house with gunpowder. Zia realizes that she shouldn't be with Eshan. So he ran away from his house and came to Eunice's. I don't know what happened after that, but now he's going back to Bursa. On the way home, Hamdi's father gave him some money and told him to come back if he wanted. Don't forget, whether there is anyone else in Istanbul or not, I am here for you. While returning from the streets of Istanbul, with a restless mind, reminiscing about his last memories, he heard a man loudly distributing circus leaflets among the townspeople. Because the European famous Vasily Circus is coming to the city for the first time. When everyone started talking, Vasily handed him a leaflet and left. Zia sat at one end of the alley, feeling sad and guilty, and started crying. Suddenly, he saw Eshan in the crowd looking at him and waving. Upon finding him, Eshan happily removed his face cloth, but everyone, seeing his appearance, mistook him for a leper and spat on him, driving him away. No one even stopped beating him. Seeing this scene, Zia rushes to save him, but I don't have the courage to say anything. When he ran away with a stone on his chest, Eshan followed him helplessly in the crowd. Immediately, the townspeople spread a net like they would for an animal and caught Eshan. Because today, that Istanbul is not a brilliant, ideal teacher, but a terrifying creature. So what's going to happen to Zia next? How did he get to Captain Omar in the middle of a heavy snowstorm? And what happened to Asai Muzaffar and Eshan? You will find the answers to all these questions in the next video. So friends, if you like the video, be sure to like it, and those of you who are new to the channel, subscribe and stay with us.